What's up, y'all? It's your girl, the Authentic Empress. And this is just a continuation of the video about the importance of preparing your own meals. So, you know how you can always tell the difference when whatever you're eating is been made with the energy of love or prepared with the energy of love? You can always tell the difference, right? It always just feels wholesome and more filling, and it's like there's this overwhelming feeling that comes over you whenever you bite into those cookies from your grandmother. You know what I'm saying? Like when you were younger, whether they were healthy or unhealthy, but there's still a difference, right? We're focusing more so on the energy. I'm not condoning eating unhealthy foods. You can still have cookies, but it's ideal for you to substitute the typical ingredients that we've been raised on, with those ingredients that are healthier, right? You can still have, very delicious cookies, if not more delicious, right? It's going to be more delicious, especially, if you eliminate those things, that are harmful to the body, that lead to disease. It's going to be even more delicious, right? Because it's healthy. Not only is it healthy, it's made, it's created out of complete love, not just 90%, not just 75%, not just 50% love, right? Because there's one thing to have that element of love coming from the actual individual, and then there's another thing when, the consciousness of how that meal or those cookies, those desserts are being prepared, right? The level of consciousness for you to, make sure you use only healthy ingredients that not only, expresses love, energetically, but it expresses love physically, right? And communicates that throughout the entire body. So I just wanted to add that because whenever I had reviewed my video, I noticed that I left that very, very critical detail out about love, right? The element of love, having your foods be prepared with love, right? Because I mentioned everything as far as the energy of, instability or those low vibrational, energetic manifestations that dwells, in those individuals preparing the food. So that's another thing too why I said being mindful of even when you go out, you can scan the energy, whether you because I know I kind of went like more extreme, and I said scan the cooks and stuff like that, and and some opportunities, especially like healthier, like health conscious restaurants, you in a lot of cases you do get to meet the cooks, right? But whether you actually get to see the cook face to face or not, you could just sense the energy, in the atmosphere. I know because I've been there, done that. I experienced this, in Savannah, Georgia. I experienced this in Virginia. Visiting health conscious places in both areas. So, like in Georgia, Savannah and particularly, there's not that many places that are particularly health conscious. So one place that I love to go to, like whenever I'm down in that area, or I'm like whenever I was going to school in Bluffton or Beaufort, I would literally go to Savannah just to go to this one place. Because mind you, it wasn't that many places for me to eat outside of like Mexican restaurants, right? Because you usually could have your meals modified, to a healthier version, like a, like tacos or burritos or chimichangas, or which you should be mindful about chimichangas because they're deep fried. So I don't really, you know, but that's like a junk food. That's like a vegan junk food type of thing. It's not something you overindulge in. It's one thing though if you prepare it your own and you make sure whatever oils or whatever methods that you're using to deep fry that is healthier, right? But you never want to indulge in any type of fried foods for the most part. So let me make sure I put that in there because I don't want to mislead anyone. However, especially, beginning vegans, people who are at the beginning stages, you don't have to be overly conscious about that, that particular detail about the chimichanga or like going to Mexican restaurants, because I know, like, especially a lot of areas down in the South, like the Southeast region, Southeast Atlantic region and stuff like that, we don't have as many health conscious places. Now, I know there's like a growing community of this in Atlanta, Georgia, but I'm not sure. Like I said, and I'm not, well, in most places, like like in the South, you don't really have that many health conscious restaurants that you could frequent, right? That's more so like out west, or like yeah, out west or like northwest type shit. So yeah, there's that. Like even in North Carolina. So I will mention North Carolina. North Carolina is doing very well, especially Charlotte. But North Carolina is doing very well as it pertains to making sure, or people creating, these health conscious businesses and restaurants, right? Even Virginia, even though they're still like in its beginnings as well, it's not that many places, right? You have to kind of seek them out. They're like kind of like needles in a haystack. But regardless, I don't know if you've noticed, if you paid attention to the markets and the advertisements, the marketing, whatever, on TV and stuff like that, because of all of this information, the truth being revealed, right? And those who are those who operate in a high vibrational nature as it pertains to the foods that we eat, how we care for ourselves, like our health, herbalism, those things that are more connected to our roots, right? And the original, like the origins of life itself, those things that grow from the ground, being brought back, that reconnectivity to nature is definitely, being emphasized, because we're in the age of Aquarius. And, a lot, and consider, Aquarius, well, Saturn and Jupiter being in Aquarius, right? It's a big thing, because not only do you have the energy of Saturn, where, the scales are being balanced, but you also have that expansion of that, right? So it's expanded. It's happening on an expansive level, on a global scale. So keep that in mind. There's definitely good times ahead, right? Especially for those operating in a high vibrational nature. That pure heartedness, and all of that. So yeah, I just wanted to put that out there. But definitely something to consider. Even, whatever mood, like for parents, right? Being mindful about finding ways to balance out your mood and your energy prior to you preparing meals for your children, because you could, subconsciously or indirectly or passively transmit that energy into your children, and you wonder why, their moods are shifting, why they're kind of acting, not like their usual selves, or they're happy go lucky selves, depending on whatever experience of life that child is experiencing, right? Anything that could be influencing them. So yeah, you guys, it's definitely something to be mindful of. You don't want to prepare moves when you're in an irritable state, right? You don't want to prepare foods when you're agitated, when you basically need to take a chill pill. I'm not condoning pill use. It's just a figure of speech. Knowing, like for example, if you're feeling hot-headed, you're feeling agitated or a little stressed, I'm not sure what the weather is like, in your area right now, but if you can stand it, trying to find a way to get a fresher breath air. So whether that's going outside in nature for a while, whether that's opening your window, whether that's simply standing in the door, even if you're in a car, you guys are on your way, to or from somewhere, heading home, but anything, any energy that you may have downloaded or picked up, or that's been projected onto you prior to you guys eating anything, right? Because even pay attention to your that urge, right? That urgency to want to stop by a fast food place, right? after, you know, your energy is kind of out of balance, right? Pay attention to that. Pay attention to that, right? And practice discipline, you know, and discipline is even better when you are, you know, more aware of not only your energy, your moods, you know, whenever you shift within yourself, right, your emotional self or your energetic self. But it's like I said, being conscious, you know, that's what really unlocks and expands, you know, and levels out that awareness, right? So, wow, okay, so I'm aware that whenever I'm agitated, whenever I get irritable, whenever, you know, I'm stressed, I notice that I begin to crave certain type of foods, like especially when you're out and about. I notice that I begin to crave certain type of things. I notice, you know, that I crave a donut, or I crave a honey bun, or I crave a chocolate bar, or I crave, you know, whatever, or I crave some French fries. I crave a burger. You get what I'm saying? So keep that in mind. Pay close attention to that. Um, Pay close attention to that, because like even with sugar, whenever you're craving sugar and stuff like that, a lot of people are addicted to sugar, or they go into these deep cravings of sugar whenever they're depressed. All right, whenever there's like it seems like there's an absence of that loving energy, right? And it's like our mind gets tricked into, you know, believing that sugar, right, is it's like it's a substitute for that agent, right? So, because you have to think about the hypothalamus, you know, the amygdala. I know I probably said that wrong. The amygdala is two ways to pronounce it. I'm gonna pronounce it the way that I can right now. You have to keep, you know, like really process, you know, all of those things that makes a human being unique, right? And not just, you know, you processing your human self, but not excluding your spiritual, energetic self as well. So these are things that we have to, you know, you know, dimensionally keep in mind, right? Because we're multi-dimensional beings. So yeah, like I was saying about the sugar, um, all sweet foods are not bad. You know, we understand that nature creates sweet foods like fruits and all that stuff, or even natural sugar that grows. You know, honey, right? But you still have to be mindful of, you know, the world, you know, that we've been brought up in, and, you know, all this artificial manipulation, you know, not just with people and systems and programming, but with the things that we consume, right? Because one of the biggest things about caring for yourself and being conscious about yourself and, you know, development, like, you know, proper development, is what you consume. And that doesn't just mean food, right? That applies to many things. That applies to what music you are consuming, what type of content you're consuming, right? What type of people, places, and things you're consuming. You know, allowing into your energy. You know, wherever, you know, you're allowing your energy to be involved in, or be exposed to. So that's what that means, right? And, you know, so it's like most of the time people think about consuming things, they think about, yeah, food, drink, drugs, alcohol. They think about stuff like that. And those things are very, very critical things. They are. They are. That's why we see, you know, there's a plethora of addictions, right? But that's why, you know, those that I just mentioned are some of the most they're some of the most profound, right? Some of the most addictive addictions, right? Even with sex, you have to be mindful about, you know, the sexual attention that you're consuming. What type of intimacy are you consuming? Because, you know, intimacy doesn't just simply mean having sex or somebody feeling on you, touching you. That's not what intimacy actually means. You know, people have, you know, their different variations, you know, and extensions of what intimacy means. And in most cases, it's always attributed back to some type of sexual transaction, right? Touchy feely type stuff, and that's not really the case. You know, intimacy can simply just be being heard properly. You know, somebody listening to you, right? Somebody being mindful about um, how they deal with your energy, or how they add to your energy, being mindful of not taking away from your energy in a sense that is straining you, or that is shifting your mood to like a lower state, right? Intimacy could be interactive and proactive communication. Intimacy can be silence and just being in each other's presence. Intimacy can be playing a board game together, playing a video game together, a walk in the park, sitting down and having dinner together, and not just sitting down, having dinner together, but with the exclusion of television, with the exclusion of distractions, right? But being mindful of one another's presence and appreciating that, right? Appreciating that, being respected, being honored, being treated as a privilege, as a gift, divine beings, because you are a gift. Intimacy. That's why we see a lot of people in situations, in relationships, in friendships, and marriages where that intimacy is deficient. There's a deficiency of intimacy, but you have other things like material wealth, or stability in a sense of having a roof over your head, being food being provided, having like your essential needs, like your base needs, right? I'm not gonna say I can't, because I don't want to jinx myself. I'm trying to think of, it's a pyramid, something we learned in psychology. I want to say evolution. I want to say is the self-actualization pyramid. And the bottom of the pyramid are like base needs, needing shelter, food, water, sunlight, these basic elements. So it's one thing to, have that provided, in a connection, or, a union with someone. Well, I'm not even going to call it a union, because I feel like there's a difference between a connection and a union. And we'll discuss that on another video, and I'll just give you like where I'm going with that, right? Because a union is like equivalent to being equally yoked, right? Soulmate energy. And it's like there's a difference between just a regular connection and a union. But like I said, we'll talk about that on another video. So there could be a deficiency in intimacy. You guys, maybe, the woman cooks, or the woman will cook the food, but nobody eats together. Not saying that, that always has to be a thing, but in most cases, nobody eats together, in a sense that, nobody is really focusing or mindful of one another's presence. In most cases, people have something outside of them to entertain them, during that, an opportunity to have an intimate, moment with a family member or a friend, or, a partner or lover, whatever the case may be, right? Like we see when people go on dates, there's different kinds of dates, but the essence of a date is that even if you guys go to be entertained collectively, by something or someone, or some, like people going to comedy gyms, people going to jazz shows, and, clubs and stuff like that. It's like you still notice those two people that's on a date, proactively like coexisting with one another, like interacting and being engaging with one another, right? And just sharing one another's like experience. It's like a unified experience of whatever they're experiencing. Laughing together at a comedian. Opposed to you being there, and there's like the club is filled with beautiful people, and even though you guys are on this date together, and you're here watching this comedian, there's a difference between what I just mentioned about those people engaging with one another, and then that person that you're on a date with, Every time, a beautiful woman or, a handsome man walks by, their attention is easily like, you know what I'm saying? No, there's a difference. There's a difference. That's why I said there's a difference between a connection and a union. Because you can have a connection with somebody, but there's not really like any union like energy. You guys are unequally yoked, right? You're just sharing a space or like, sharing a moment or like a connection, like physical attraction. Maybe it was just based in physical attraction, that type of thing. Attraction, a connection, right? Infatuation, but it's not companionship. So there's a difference. So yeah, you guys, I think I pretty much said everything. Just to wrap up that video about the importance of preparing your own meals. But like I said, and you preparing your own meals and you loving yourself and healing yourself and you have you rehearse these affirmations in your mind or throughout your day or just your way of speaking, right? Your way of being, in your life, in your universe, the way that you express your universe in a means that is beneficial to you, right? That's why it's a beautiful thing to learn if you're not used to cooking for yourself, but to learn because your ancestors will teach you. You know how people say when you're preparing something, it's like you hear somebody speaking to you. Oh, that's enough season, child. That's enough. Yeah, they will support you. They will support you. Anything that supports your highest good, your highest version of yourself, your health, right? Divinity, all around. Your divine and loving ancestors, the archangels, the Most High, your own soul will support you, will help you. You never have to do this alone. Opposed, even though it's, in your fleshly eyes, your human eyes, you may not have, people who are willing to be on board to that type of thing because it's a challenge. It's a challenge. And it's, it's levels to it. And so you have to consider people's history, how long you or them have been eating a certain type of way, have been doing things a certain type of way, right? Because people don't really process how their energy influences everything. Everything that they invest in, every action that they take, their energy influences those actions. So we have to keep that in mind, right? And then you're going to have people who are going to be, in that Knight of Pentacles, who are going to be moving a little slow, as it pertains to understanding that, like the depths of that, They may feel like, oh, that sound crazy. You sound, whatever. But once again, you're not crazy. And that's why, that's the advantage that you have in, taking control over preparing your own meals. You give yourself like an advantage, right? To invest more healing, to invest more light and love and high vibrations into your own self through preparing your own meals because your energy is solid, right? There's no shakiness. There's no wavering. There's no, no type of instability or unstableness or shape-shiftiness. You don't have to worry about any of that. But once again, like I had said in the other video, you will notice for those who do want to eat healthier and are making, putting in the effort to eat healthier, you will notice at, these health conscious restaurants and places or encountering your friends or people or even strangers who, cook in this manner or feed themselves, in this manner, you will notice a lightness in their energy, a big difference between their energy and those people who still, engage and, overindulging in these unhealthy foods. But yeah, like even about the cookies, y'all, there's almond milk, there's plenty of substitutes, that you could use to make very delicious cookies. And another thing about being adventurous and exploring, all of nature's foods, right? Nature communicates to you. The foods communicate to you because we are nature. So everything communicates to you. This is something that I've learned, just in my journey. I create my own recipes. Yeah. I surprise myself all the time, but it's a beautiful experience, because of that reciprocity, right? Regardless of if I get reciprocity from actual human beings, I always get reciprocity from the Most High. I always get reciprocity from the universe. I always get reciprocity from the earth, Mother Earth, because of the love that I invest and contribute to them, right? So that true reciprocity, that's something that we all have the opportunity to experience. So don't cheat yourself, right? Don't cheat yourself. You know, don't knock it until you try it type of thing. Because you won't regret it. You won't. And like I said, it will take discipline. But understand that, you know, even with that discipline, it gets better. It gets easier over time. It gets easier. Please don't buy into thinking that, oh, it's going to be so difficult forever and so long, you know, for you to fully transition and stuff like that. Because once again, the Most High, nature, you know, because you are a reflection of nature, it loves you. It's going to support you. It's going to reciprocate what you're doing, understanding that you're making choices to, you know, better yourself, to heal yourself, to advance yourself. That's going to be, you know, reciprocated back into you. So it's going to become easier. Whenever you have, you know, other people and they coming around with their fried chicken, you know, you smelling that, or you smell, like, for in many cases, it won't even smell the same to you. It's going to smell disgusting, right? You're going to be repulsed by it because you're reprogramming your taste buds. You're reprogramming, you know, your body, right? Because it's like your body is very intelligent, and your body is a reflection of nature, right? Your body is created to work for your highest good. Your body is created to fight against, you know, pathogens and bad bacteria and agents and alien-like things, you know, parasitic things, you know, that is not good for it. Your body is designed to work in that manner. The difference is when you see people who continue eating this way, it's like working against your body. It's like if our bodies naturally create insulin and you're putting artificial insulin in your body is going to stop creating insulin, you know, because once again, you know, your body's intelligence, right? So to your body is saying, okay, I need to stop creating insulin because I don't want it to be like an overload of insulin in my person's vessel, because that would be damaging to me. You know, I don't want them to, you know, be self-destructive, but at the same time, they're not operating, you know, in their logic. So I'm going to have to work with this, right? I'm going to have to be adaptable, because that's something we all have to grow to be as well, adaptable to change, you know, embrace change, you know, learn to be resilient, right? Because that's how the body is made. And that's why you see a lot of people are able to continue on in these unhealthy ways of being because of that body's resilience. But it's like that resilience of your body has to be met with the resiliences of your other bodies, right? Your emotional, your logic, your mental, your spiritual bodies. So, yeah, I think, you know, that's straight to the point. Straight to the point. But, yeah, you'll notice, you know, problems with your skin, you know, problems with your mood, you know, problems with your digestive system, you know, whenever you're receiving food, not only food, you know, where it's just flat out unhealthy, or the ways that it's being prepared is not that, you know, healthy, like an excess of oils and, you know, stuff like that. But people's energy, you know, low vibrational energy, unstable energy can create that type of environment in your body as well, and or on your body as well. So that's why it's very critical. That's why it's very important. I'm making this video. Been there, done that, right? But I love you guys. This is the Authentic Empress. Till next time.